Let's talk about Sean McVay and the Los Angeles Rams because the Los Angeles Rams, they are a dangerous team in the NFC West division. When you look at this division, you have the San Francisco 49ers, who are the best team in this division, but then you have the Seattle Seahawks and the Arizona Cardinals. The Arizona Cardinals have some nice playmakers, but I believe that they're a ways away. And when you look at the Seattle Seahawks, how would they look without their first time in a very long time without having Pete Carroll as their head coach? And you look at the Rams. In 2022, they missed the NFL playoffs. They went 5-12. We have to add in context here. Why they missed the NFL playoffs? Part of it was Super Bowl hangover. Yes, the year before you made the trade to get Matthew Stafford, you went to the Super Bowl, you won. But Matthew Stafford was beat up. He was banged up. He was not able to finish the season. And there was a lot of talks. Will he retire? Will he come back? Well, Matthew Stafford loves football. He comes back to the Los Angeles Rams. They have a phenomenal draft class that consisted of Steve Avila, who is a superstar interior offensive lineman and one of the best wide receivers in the NFL today, in Puka Nacua. When you look at this offense, it is predicated off the run and is predicated off the back of Matthew Stafford and Kyren Williams. When you look at Kyren Williams, when he went down this previous season and he missed those couple of games dealing with a sprained ankle and dealing with that issue, the offense did not look the same. The offense was not bad per se, but it was not the same offense. When they let Kyren Williams go out there and run loose, we saw Matthew Stafford and the wide receivers gel better together because they could work off of play action. It's a similar system that the San Francisco 49ers run with Christian McCaffrey and all the motion. But the thing is with Sean McVay, his play calling has been phenomenal and it's been consistent. Even when Matthew Stafford was out, the backup quarterbacks, they didn't put up major numbers, but he put them in the best situation as possible. Sean McVay is a top coach in the NFL, and Matthew Stafford is still a top quarterback in the NFL as well. As long as those two guys can gel together, the Rams are going to be a playoff caliber team. Year in and year out. We saw it many years ago when they had Jared Goff as the franchise quarterback at the time. They made the NFL playoffs. Sean McVay is a great coach and he deserves more credit, especially with rebuilding this team on the fly. If I was to come to you at the end of 2022 and tell you that, hey, the Rams are going to be one of the better teams in the NFC for next season, you would laugh at me. But in the span of one offseason, he went out there, he fixed the offensive line, and he helped develop a star in Puka Nacua. Cooper Kupp missed the first couple of games at the start of last season because he was still dealing with some injuries. And Cooper Kupp is still a top wide receiver in the NFL. His numbers may not say that from this previous season because he was still dealing with injuries, but he is still a top guy to have. You're not going to put him in single coverage, and if you do, he's going to make you pay. He's one of the best route runners in the NFL today. You pair him up with Cooper Kupp with another season underneath this belt, it's going to be a phenomenal thing to see if they can work off the play action. To put in context of how great Kyren Williams was last season with the Los Angeles Rams, he was third in leading the league in rushing, 1,144 rushing yards, and he missed time, 12 rushing touchdowns, and he averaged 5 yards a carry. This is the most talented running back that Sean McVay has had since Todd Gurley. And you look at this offensive line from tackle to tackle, they're strong. You have Jonah at the left guard position. He is a phenomenal guard to have. Jonah Jackson. He's a road raider. You have Steve Avila at the center position, a phenomenal guy entering his sophomore season. Kevin Dotson has turned his career around to being a consistent offensive lineman on a week-to-week basis. And then you also still have Big Rob holding things down at the right tackle position. This offense is one of the better offenses in the NFL, let alone the NFC. And I love the pieces that they have. And it's more than just Cooper Kupp. It's more than just Puka Nacua and Matthew Stafford. Let's give Tutu Atwell a lot of credit. Tutu Atwell may never have over 600 yards receiving in a season in his career, and that's okay. He's a major deep threat. He's a decoy, and you have to be careful because Matthew Stafford will give him the football when he's running deep down the field to open up things for guys underneath. To put in context here, Tutu Atwell had 483 receiving yards on the season and 3 receiving touchdowns, but he averaged 12 yards a catch. He is a major deep playmaker for Sean McVay and this system. And they use him a lot in motion ways as well. When you're having him run behind the line of scrimmage, if the cornerback can't keep up, that's an easy 5 to 6 yards because he can still make moves in space. Early on in his career, he struggled to find time on the field. But when they had that down season, he showed a lot of good glimpses of being a top receiving threat with the Rams. And now we're starting to see things pan out. And by the way, a lot of people would say that Puka Nacua got force-fed his rookie season. Yes, he did, but he was still able to get open as well. Two things can be true. And Matthew Stafford has gave some of the best wide receivers in the NFL their best years. Calvin Johnson, one of the best that we have ever seen. Matthew Stafford was his quarterback. Cooper Kupp never had this production until Matthew Stafford came over. So as long as they have Matthew Stafford on the field and Sean McVay's out there calling plays, the Rams are going to be okay. Tyler Higbee is also a very good tight end to look at as well with the Rams. He's not a top 5, the top 10 receiving tight end, but having 495 receiving yards on the season and 2 receiving touchdowns, that's going to get it done, especially being a third down threat as well. You have to cover every single receiving threat with the Rams, because if you don't, they can take a 5 to 10 yard play and they can make it a 50 to 60 yard gain in a blink of an eye. And if you're in a goal line situation, they're going to run the football with Kyren Williams, which you need to do in this division. Now you look at their defense. They lost some big names. Raheem Morris is no longer here. He was a great defensive coordinator with the Rams. He did a lot of good things with the Los Angeles Rams. But now he's a head coach for the Atlanta Falcons, and I wish him nothing but the best. But when you look at the defense now, not only did they lose their defensive coordinator, they also went out there and they lost one of the best defensive tackles, and Aaron Donald. How will this defense look? Well, now you have Chris Shula, who has been with the Rams for quite some time. He's a former linebacking coach. He's a pass rushing coach as well. He has a bright defensive mind. You want to give him some grace because it's going to be his first year calling plays with the Los Angeles Rams. Sean McVay has done a great job with just going out there and finding the right defensive coordinators and finding the right staff around him. He comes from that Sean McVay tree. All those coaching staffs are loaded. But when you look at this defense, they're very young. It may take them a couple of games to figure things out, but at the same time, they just may come out swinging. Losing Aaron Donald is a huge piece, but Kobe Turner did lead all rookies in sacks last season. He had 9 sacks on the season. Granted, he was not the head dog on the defensive side of the ball. That was Aaron Donald, but this kid still faced double teams later in the season. Kobe Turner is going to have to go out there, not be Aaron Donald, but be the best version of Kobe Turner that he can be, because Bobby Brown is now playing alongside him. And the defensive line may not look the same, but you have also drafted Jared Verse in the first round, a phenomenal edge rusher coming out of Florida State University. We got to see his best ball when Jordan Travis, their starting quarterback, went down. He was single-handedly taking over games coming off the edge. And you drafted his teammate, one of his closest friends, and Braden Fisk coming from the same team. Both of those guys can get to the quarterback and they can stop the run. In this division, you have to be able to stop the run first because you have Christian McCaffrey. You look at the run game that the Seattle Seahawks have with Kenneth Walker III. They can run the football. And the Arizona Cardinals, they can run the football with James Conner as well. So you're solving that problem right there by getting bigger on the defensive line and creating more depth. That's what's going to have to come down to Chris Shula. They have to find a way to get more pass rushes as well. Their pass rush has not been the same off the edge since Von Miller departed the team and he went to the Buffalo Bills. It's the reason why they traded to go get Von Miller in the first place. But now you have these young pieces. Hopefully they can develop over time. But it does bother me that you have a lot of young players up front. Not to say that they can't be good on day one, but we will see. Just give them time. Their linebackers are very good. I believe that their linebackers are really slept on. Ernest Jones, the fourth, is a very good linebacker. 74 solo tackles last season, 4.5 sacks. But Byron Young is the guy to look out for. He had a high pressure rate, 8 sacks on the season, 2 forced fumbles. He can go back there, put a lot of pressure on the quarterback. He can make some moves in space as well. He can stop the run. He may lead this team in sacks for this upcoming season because Kobe Turner is going to face a lot of double teams and maybe even triple teams if he could play up to that next level. So he's going to leave Byron Young in a lot of one-on-one situations like how he was in last season. You have to take advantage of it. Their secondary was their Achilles heel last season, and we got to see that in that Rams and Lions playoff game. Even though a lot of flags did not go the Rams' way, the referees really on the side of the Detroit Lions, it was still a lot of big plays in the air. Their secondary has to be better. But they went out there and they brought in a lot of secondary help. And they started off by getting Darius Williams, a very good cornerback coming over from the Jacksonville Jaguars. He got cut by the Jaguars, not because he is a bad cornerback. He's a very good cornerback. He's not a true number one, but he had 4 interceptions on the season, 19 pass deflections, 2 forced fumbles. He should fit this system like a glove. You have Kobe Durant as well. Can he develop to that next level? I've been waiting on him to develop and to become a starting corner on a consistent basis. He has a lot of good plays, but at the same time, he looks like a deer in headlights at times. Hopefully, he can go out there and he can develop to the next level. But having Darius Williams with this team, that's a major plus. And they also signed Tre'Davious White. I will say this. If he's fully healthy, true number one corner. The problem is he's coming off a major Achilles injury, and just a couple of years before, he tore his ACL. He did look fine after that ACL. He was starting to get back into form. I'm worried about them going out there and signing a guy like this, but it's low risk, high reward because he's not making a lot of money. If he can just give you 12 to 13 games in this season and he can play in the NFL playoffs, that's a major signing for the Rams. So be on lookout for their secondary. It may be better than what you think, but I do believe that the Rams are going to be fine. You have Sean McVay, like I mentioned earlier in the video, a top head coach. You have Matthew Stafford, one of the better quarterbacks in the NFL. Not too many people still put respect on his name. Let's not forget that Matthew Stafford can sling the ball with the rest of them, and he has the same arm talent with guys like Patrick Mahomes and Josh Allen and Joe Burrow as well. I'm not saying that he's a top 5 quarterback anymore, but this is a guy that can go out there. He can read any NFL defense, and he has a great arm, one of the best arms in the NFL. With that being said, I do believe if the Rams can stay fully healthy, they will make the NFL playoffs, and they will be a threat in the NFC. Look at how they played the Detroit Lions. When they went on the road, they played them tough. They were just a couple plays away from winning that game, and Puka Nacua went berserk in that game. Cooper Kupp didn't do much. But if Cooper Kupp can just stay fully healthy and he can still play at that level, the Rams are going to be a super team. Well, not a super team to look at. They're going to be a dangerous team to look at. But let me know in the comment section below, how do you guys feel about the Los Angeles Rams? If you're new to the channel, hit the subscribe button. If you like the video, hit the like button. I have partnered with SeatGeek, by the way. So if you are a new user to SeatGeek, use code APST to save $20 off your first purchase of tickets if you want to go to a Rams game, a concert, anything of that nature. But most importantly, when each and every last one, you guys stay safe, stay positive. Thanks for watching the video, guys. God bless. Peace.